Hello all my fishing reel friends. This is Rick Stivers coming to you from YoungMartin'sReels, and today we're going to take a step back. We've done quite a few spinning reels here lately, but what we haven't done is any spincast reels in a while. So we've got this Heddon 120, and I'm going to be honest with you guys up front. I've never worked on this reel, never seen this reel before. The only thing I have done is this right here, which is take the cover off. All right. So let's do a quick check on it and see what we've got, see if it works. Well, it sounds a little grumbly inside. Let's back this out so you guys can see what's going on here. All right, it does sound like it's a little bit dry and a little stiff. It doesn't have a the handle comes off real easy, so it needs to be tightened up. Don't know if the drag works or not on it. Let's see, check the button. Let's go ahead and take this off so we can visually see what we've got. Okay, this is one of the type that doesn't have a pin that comes out of the rotor. It catches on the bottom edge of this, like some of the Zebcos did. Okay, so when you push the button, it's going to raise that up. Once it goes up, that allows the line to come out on this smooth part right here, and that'll just sit there and spin off, or it's supposed to anyway, if you got good line. And then when you wind it, it's supposed to automatically click down. Well, it's kind of slow getting there, but it does come back down. All right, so that part works, even though it is a bit on the sluggish side. All right, now the drag, I'm not sure how the drag on this one is situated. Let's see. Wow, that didn't feel good. Felt like the drag tightened up to a certain point, and then, yep, and then it just pops. And so something in the drag is not right. We'll have to see about fixing that. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and see if we can take this top cover off. Not with that, we're not. Is that a round? Okay, I thought that was a hex head, and it's not. It's round. So let's see if we can put a screwdriver on it. There we go. Okay, take that nut off, and we're going to slide this spinner cap off, and it is incredibly dirty, but it's very non-complex. Okay, all we have to do is scrub that up. It's got no moving parts whatsoever. That part's pretty simple. Okay, we're going to come over here, and we're going to need to take off this E-clip right here by sliding it over. Got to be careful. You don't want to gouge the drag washer underneath it. Okay, it's coming. And we don't want to shoot it across the room either. There we go. It's got that off. All right, then it's got a hard drag washer. That's very dry. Feels like it's cardboard. I'm sure it probably isn't, but that's what it feels like. Very dirty. And then the spool, apparently, is going to slide off. Okay. And under that is this drag washer, and oh my, I think we're going to have to come up with a new one for that. That appears to be a leather drag washer, and it is worn away into this odd shape. I believe that is a leather drag washer, and it's missing large chunks of itself. So we'll have to see what we can do about that. All right, then we come down here. We've never had this apart before, as I said. This is our plate for our drag. Now, as we loosen it, unscrew the drag, it drops this plate down. As we tighten it, it raises the drag up. But it was getting to a certain point, and it would just pop like that and drop back down to the bottom again. Okay, so we'll have to look and see what's causing that. Let's go ahead and see if we can remove this screw. get it so you can see what's going on inside there. Okay, the screw's turning because there's a nut on the back side. So we're going to have to get to that nut and hold it in place. Let's go ahead and take the handle off then. And I believe what we need on here is going to be a wrench. So let me get my small wrench set. Okay, I'm back with a wrench to hold the nut. And we'll see if we can't unscrew this out of here now. So that you can see what's going on here. This is screwdrivers in the slot on that. But now we've got to hold the nut on the other side over here. So I'm going to put this on there. And one, you're going to be able to see either one side or the other, but not both. Okay. And unscrew it. There we go. Nut is off. And the screw should come out of the hole. And it does. Now we should be able to take this drag plate off, I think. Maybe not. It may be held on back here. All right, so we'll set the screw and the nut over to the side. And let's get back to work over here. All right. We're going to start off over here by trying to take out these two screws. This one should hold the button in, and with it out, we should be able to see inside this. It's a very long screw because it goes all the way through the button. Now we lift the button out, and now we can look down inside and see what we've got. I don't see much anything down in there. Okay. Oh, I just pulled this out, and when I did that, these two pieces fell out. Okay, so one is going to be this one, which goes down inside here, like so. This other one went on underneath it. Like so. And then this one fit back down inside there onto your drag over here. Okay, we took the screw out, so that removed that. With that out now, with this loose over here, we are able to take this loose. Let's take these two parts back out so we can get them scrubbed up and clean. All right, let's see what we can figure out with this drag assembly. I still have no idea how this drag assembly works. There's the other screw that goes, the short one goes in the bottom. Okay. Now, the way this fits in here is this fits like so. And this bar, okay, the knob, let's take it out of there so you can see. Okay, this fits like so in here. And it rotates around, and as it does, that's a cam. And as that cam rides up, gets higher and higher, it pushes that drag higher and higher and putting more and more pressure on the spool. The reason that it's probably able to go past it is because this drag washer is so worn out. I think once we replace that with a fresh drag washer, I think we'll be okay there. And like I said, this piece goes inside there, and then this piece will fit into it like that. And you can see how that works, like so. Okay, and that's when it drops down. All right, as it rides up, it puts more and more pressure. It's pretty easy and simple design once you understand what it's doing. All right, let's see what we got on the other side here. We have the axle shaft that doesn't want to come out. And I encounter this rather often. Let's see if I can get a hold of it and pull it out. Maybe, maybe not. this may be one of those that will only come out through the top, which means if that's the case, that there's going to be a C-clip on this side. So let's do a quick cleanup right there. Okay, it looks like it is going to be a clip. So I'm going to have to hold this down. And while I've got that held down, I've got to try to get hold of that snap ring and get it popped off of there. All right, pull that down. Okay, with that held down, I'm going to try to get hold of this snap ring. There we go. It is an E-clip. Didn't appear to be. My eyesight must be really going, because these little E-clips tend to not look like E-clips when they're in there and all that grease. Okay, with that done, we should be able to pull this out the opposite direction, out the front. So out comes the spring. There's the spring and the E-clip. The shaft comes, yeah, see here? You'll never pull that through the back side. Okay, so, but I'm also having difficulty trying to get it to come through the front side. Okay, here we go. If you look under here, you'll see that there is a snap ring inside also that's holding that. So that should now come out. There we go. Okay, so this ring fits through the axle shaft, or the body right here, to hold that axle in place so that it can't go too far. Okay, so there's that ring, the axle, the pinion gear. Why is the pinion gear sitting crooked? Because it's got so much dirt caked on the bottom of it. Okay, well, that shouldn't be a problem. All right, now we're going to take and slide the main gear with the crankshaft out through the front, or into the body. See what we have here, if we have anything besides dirt and caked up grease. Okay, and so far that appears to be all that's there. And we have the anti-reverse cog right here. And this is one of those that doesn't need a spring or anything. It operates off the cog itself, kind of like the pendulum in a clock. All right, take that out, and we want to keep it in there the right way. If we put it in wrong, it's going to cause grief. It's not the same each way. This is the right configuration for it to sit in there, just like that. Okay, so the smallest, sharpest point is the one that goes in. And that is a complete teardown of this Heddon 120. All right, I'm going to scrub it all up. When I come back in a few moments, for you it's just a few seconds, when I come back, we should have a reasonably clean body and parts, and we should be able to start putting it all back together. All right, we're back and the parts are clean. One of the things I did discover, though, in doing the cleanup, is I found this little piece right here. And I believe that that went right there. So this spring is broken, but I don't have another one like that. I'm hoping there's enough of this one left to do the job. We're going to see when we get in there. If not, I'll have to go search and see if I can't make a spring for this. All right, in the meantime, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start off on this back side back here. And we're going to reinstall as soon as I get rid of that piece of cotton fuzz left in there from my cotton swab. There we go. That can gum things up, so make sure you're not to leave those kind of things in there. All right, let's go ahead and put a little grease on the anti-reverse post. And then let's go ahead and set our anti-reverse pawl back in there, right there, like so. Next to go on will be your main gear. And we're going to start that off by putting oil on the shaft. And we'll slide it inside like so. And see how it works. Should rotate forward and not reverse. If you watch, see your anti-reverse pawl kicking back and forth right there? There we go. Now, let's go back, put some grease on the main gear. Next to go in is going to be this guy. And this is the one that's going to try to be held in by that spring. And I'm going to go ahead and grease this one. We've been looking at a lot of wear in this, so it's got a lot of age on it. So we're going to go ahead and grease it instead of oil it. We'll slide it in like so. And we'll take a look at it. Okay, so far I'm pleased. All right, now this spring clip is supposed to go in and fit across that axle shaft. Let's see if we can get it to do so. And that locks that in. Okay, so there's enough of the spring clip left to do its job. And it will be held in place by the spool once we put it in, so it's going to be fine. All right, with that in place, I'm going to come back and we're going to reinstall the pinion gear. Make sure to slide that main gear back over out of the way. And there's a keyway on this gear we've got to get to line up with the axle shaft. There we go. Line it up with the keyway and it should be good. All right. And we'll slide it in as far as we believe it should go. I think we have it correct. Well, that seems awful short. I think it's supposed to go back one more. I think I've got that spring clip in one notch too shallow. I think this has got to go in further. So let's see if we can pop the spring clip back out. Lift it up a little bit and grab hold of it. There we go. Now slide the axle shaft on back down in there. And then slide the spring clip on. There. Now I believe we've got it in the right location. There we go. Okay. Set our spring back onto the axle shaft. Now I'm going to set this down, nose down, so that that is up against the wall. So that when I push down on this spring, it's going to go down and doesn't push the axle shaft out the front. Before I do that, I want to take my C-clip right here, and I'm going to get it set up to go back in. Okay, so I'm going to grab it like so. Now when I go to set that in place, it's already clipped in there. All right, so we'll take this. Be careful, because if your fingernail slips off of this, you can send that spring flying across the room. Okay, we're going to set our E-clip in. There we go. I believe it's all the way on, but I want to make sure. And it is. There we go. Okay. There we go. When we wind that catching on that pin is what, that spring is what drops that down. All right, let's go ahead, put some grease on the spring, put some grease on the pinion gear. Now when we rotate that, that'll spread the grease around. Hey, it doesn't feel rough anymore when it turns. That's good. All right, next part to go on is going to be this side plate. I'm going to set it right here and put the small screw in the bottom. Okay, then we're going to set the button back in. And what we want to do is put some grease up here in the pivot hole for the button and put just a little bit on the sides because it's going to have to slide in and out of this housing. So we'll set it back into the hole, line that up, and we should be able to drop our screw back in, the long screw, and get it to line up and screw back in on the other side. All right, next is going to come our drag knob, and all it's going to do is just sit in the hole. Okay, what's going to hold it in the hole is when we install this piece over here. But we want it to be able to turn easily. That being the case, we'll go ahead and put some grease on it and in the cam slot, like so. And then we'll set it down into that slot, and that grease will help hold it in place too, so that if you tip it over, it won't just fall out. Okay, now we want to take our clicker assembly, that's this one, and we're going to set it in place down in there. And if we have difficulty getting it to stay, we can always put a little grease on the bottom of it, but I think it's going to sit in there okay. So let's go ahead and do what I said to begin with. Put a little grease on the bottom. If nothing else, that's going to act as a corrosion preventative. Set it in there, put it on the stud that it goes on, and push it down. When you get that grease pushed down on there, that's going to help hold it in place. Now let's set this back in. And there we go. Okay, I see what it was catching. I had it too far down on that side, which is catching on a lip inside here. So if you push it down, let it go down evenly, it should drop right into place. Now just before it gets all the way in, take your knob and drop it in so that this drops into the slot, and then rotate this until that pressure plate drops all the way down right there. Watch it, it'll go up, and then once you get to a point, it's going to drop back down. That's where you want it, is in that drop down position. Okay, we're going to hold all that right there and put this screw back in. Remember the screw that had the nut on the other side? Well, this is that screw. We're going to put it back in, and try to hold the nut on the other side. And for me, hemostats work best for that, because I can put them right in position, and you don't really get to see both positions. You get to see one or the other. It's starting. Get my 1/4 inch wrench back on the nut. It may hold itself. It did. Okay. Let's go ahead and tighten it down the rest of the way. Okay. It's smaller than 1/4. There we go. It is 15/64. There. Now it's tight. All right. Now you can see where it adjusts up. Now before it drops off, it should just stop and go back. All right. That's it. Now, I told you that I was going to go look for a new drag washer because this one was so mangled. And I found this one in my dad's supply of old recycled stuff. So we're going to go ahead and slide that one on. And we're going to lubricate that drag washer with some drag washer grease. At this point, we're going to go back, slide the spool on, like so. You can hear the click. That's the clicker working underneath. You're going to slide this drag washer on, but before we do that, we'll add some grease up under it. And then we'll set it back in place. It's a hard drag washer. And then we're going to reinstall this clip, like so. Set the rotor back in place. Put the rotor nut back on. Go ahead and reinstall the handle, except this time when we put it on, we're going to hold the rotor tight and tighten the handle nice and snug. There we go. And push the button. It stays up. See how quickly it drops down? Oh, hang on. Let me back up. See how quickly it drops back down now? All right. Ready to, let's see. And the drag on this is controlled by the knob. Let's go ahead and can we get hold of some of the line? See if we can get, all right, we got hold of the string. Let's go ahead, feed that through the cap. Drop the cap on. Let's see if it releases. There it goes, nice release. It winds back in nicely. Okay, let's check our drag now. Right now, we are at minimum drag. Let's start to tighten it up. Wow, that's more than enough drag. Okay. Nice smooth drag. So there you have the Heddon 120 spincast reel. I'm guessing it was made probably in the 1950s to 1970s. I think during that time frame, Heddon was into not just lures, but they were trying to get into, or trying to do the fishing reel thing too. And I think they made quite a few of these. I think they made a lot more open face though than they did these spincast reels. And anyway, this one's up and functional and ready to go. If you like what you saw here today, please hit the like button. If you didn't like it, it's okay. Hit the dislike button. Tell me what you didn't like. And if you'd like to see further videos like this, please, by all means. Oh, by the way, we went over 400 subscribers this week. And my 400th subscriber was someone named Dogleg Jake, I believe it was. And so at this rate, by the end of the year, we'll have a half 1,000. So we're still cruising. We're having a good time, finding new reels to work on that we haven't done before. So for now, that's Rick Stivers with Young Martin's Reels, signing out.